Yeah, all right. You guys holler if you can hear me. Thumbs up in the chat if you can. See if that. Yep, all right. Got about a minute left in this one. All right. Appreciate you guys in the chat. Got about a minute left. Just going to let this one wrap up. Lock in that clean sheet. No excuses at this point. Do the business. Let Raz earn all the plaudits. No distractions. I'm on stream, so I'm a little behind in case the match is already over. Just take it to the corner, right? Little corner action. Just hold on to it. All right, official match is over. Let's let the parties get started. The Raheem Dream Show, without a doubt. Love, love, love that for him. Got to check my fantasy team. I had Malo Gusto in there. Anybody else, huh? 15 points for Gusto? Yes, please. Feels good. All right. First Potch win from One Shables in the chat. That's right. A little bit crazy to think, but yeah. Well, first chat maybe in the UK, or first win in the UK, right? Because we obviously did the business stateside, which is good. Match wrapping. Love to see the players in a good mood. I think Luton's happy enough, right? They're just happy to be here. We never really expected it to be much of a problem for them, in Chelsea doing the business like we wanted to see. 1 second. Got to get my power cord. Make sure I don't run out of juice for this one. All right, here we go. All cameras on Raheem. 2 goals, assists today. Absolutely top class. A couple matches in a row now for him. He's looking really good. He didn't get the end result last match against West Ham. We needed it, but definitely brought the goods this time around. And I tell you what, if he can maintain this tempo, it is going to be a good season for Raheem. Tell you what, really, really excited about that. Watching the stream here. Paul saying Sterling over 20 goals this season. Hey, I'd say over 20 goals and assists. I'm down for that. Over 20 goals and assists would be great for Raheem. I mean, you got to think about what he had last season too, you know? And it was a bad season for him. But let's look at what Raheem has done in the past here. Goals and assists. Second season at Man City, he had 9 for Chelsea. I think he could double his goals and assists this season if the Chelsea team actually get their act together, unlike last season. 16 plus, I would definitely take that. Stamford Bridge looking good tonight as well. Excited to see that. Yeah, Nomad Blue saying if Raz can maintain the form this season, we have to be excited about Nico and Nkunku. I'm telling you what, I'm not even judging this team until Nkunku comes back. I think he's that important. I think he's that big of a deal. Nkunku is, we got to see him in the States, for those of you who didn't. He is so good. He's really going to make this team go next level. It's Nkunku. Jackson was a little bit isolated today, right? He struggled a little bit. Good to see that he got his goal when the opportunity came. Took a risk. Raz put it in. Nice little deflection and tap in. A striker's finish. You love to see it. So he's now off the mark. At that high water mark, which, hey, man, to each their own, right? If that's where he wants to send it, all for it. Funny to see. Ethan saying, Madueke urging Raz to chill out a bit so he can get some playing time too. So funny. Yeah, no minutes for Madueke today, which is kind of interesting. I wonder if that's because he's less involved. He's still come back to fitness, but either way, we only using 3 subs, right? And they're all late in the match. So I'm kind of paying attention to that. West Ham, not a lot of subs. I wonder if that means Poch is really trying to push and get his team to settle in. He wants the players he puts out there to figure out a way to solve it versus him changing it. Kate said, if this is a taste of what's to come, I couldn't be more pleased with where this team is headed. I tell you what, Kate, this isn't even the best Chelsea team we have. There's a lot more to come from this group. With the injuries we have, this is average for this team. There's a lot more to come from that one. Matt saying, imagine Joao Felix in attack today. Matt, you bringing Joao Felix into this? Why are we doing that? Why are you bringing that complexity back in? It's true, we do need a number 10, but Poch said in his presser, like, if you go get another new player, they're going to take just as long to adapt and settle in and get to fitness as it would for, players to come back from injury. I think he was talking about Carney and Broya. So it's like, do you go get an attacker or you just wait it out? I thought that was a very level-headed thing to say. But Joao Felix, interesting. I would love to see what in the world you guys think about that in the chat. We got to interview him last season. Great guy, super nice. It just didn't work last season, but I would say nothing really did. So, but big wages. He's going to want a big contract. Him and Atletico, it got so bad they just canceled his contract, terminated it. Like, I don't know. A little bit concerning nobody's sniffing around him, right? Isn't that a concern? Paul says, no, we just need Mudryk firing, and then I'm happy, man. Would love to see it. No minutes for Mikhailo today because he was injured. Not a big injury, just a muscular. So I think a lot of people are talking about the fitness regime. I forgot who it was. Super smart person said Wednesday is like their peak day for fitness, and that's when they got a couple muscular injuries picked up. So that's how you can kind of assume that, that's going to be the day. If someone is going to pop a calf or pull a hammy, it's going to be on a Wednesday or Thursday if we play on Saturday. So sure enough, that happened for him, which is really unfortunate. A lot of people don't want to see him succeed. I don't know why people don't like Mikhailo Mudryk. Why would you not want a player like that to succeed? Young, ambitious, does the right things, works hard, is not a disruptor. Who in the right mind does not want Mudryk to succeed? Also, he's physically gifted. Wouldn't the football world be better with a good Mikhailo Mudryk in it? I would say yes. Everyone gets excited when Adama Traore back in the day would bomb forward. Okay, imagine Traore with a touch, with some ability. This is what Mudryk could be, right? And he doesn't need all that baby oil. Just saying. Craig, appreciate the congratulations. If you know, you know. Check it out on social media. Ice Knock said, Madueke will play against Wimbledon, I bet. Yeah, if he's fitness, look, Wimbledon for sure. I think you're going to see a lot of rotations for that one, and that's exactly what we should see. In case you don't know, we play Wednesday. We already play Wednesday, rolling it back. Nomad Blue football gods will end the injury curse. I think the team will be formidable for the near future. We have all the pieces. Nomad Blue, we have 7+ 1 year contracts. It won't be for the near future. It'll be for the next 5 to 7 seasons. Austin saying Enzo sees the game different. He's world class. There's no argument here. Enzo's game is built around his vision and passing. You know who else's was? One Cesc Fabregas. A little bit different, but not really. Not that different of players, I would say. Right? Fabregas was not physically gifted in speed, and athleticism is tied to his foot. He is absolutely fantastic. Arnold says, don't have to sub too many times. It's mainly one game a week. Hey, great point, right? There's a lot more recovery time. I'm not thinking, though, Arnold, substitutions from a fitness standpoint. I'm thinking from a tactical standpoint. Chilwell and Levi Colwill and that side of the attack struggled today. I just wonder putting in Ian Matson or Mudryk or someone on that left side earlier just changes it up, right? I'm thinking tactical substitutions versus fitness. Obviously, Ogachukwu coming on for a striker is hilarious, right? What I would also say is, we got Dan that's joined. Very good. Let me see if I can pull him in here in a second. But Ogachukwu coming on for a striker is hilarious, isn't it? I would say. So, you make it happen. You do what you got to do. I don't know if anyone else feels the same. I'm open to suggestions on this one. What's up, Dan? You ready to get involved in this little conversation here?
I think so. I mean, Chelsea won. First Premier League win of the season. First win in quite some time. Wonderful win in front of the Chelsea supporters on a Friday night ahead of a bank holiday in the UK. I mean, was there a better way for those supporters to go into the weekend? I think the only way would have been if Chelsea had scored a fourth or a fifth goal, because there were opportunities to do so.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can respect and understand that. There's no doubt. Bank holiday, that's right. All you UK brethren out there enjoying a long holiday. Friday, right? It's Friday. The weekend is saved. I think that's the biggest thing, Dan. The weekend is saved. Chelsea play first because we got Wimbledon midweek. Pretty rough first half, even middle of the second half. And then we get the floodgate right at the end. Raheem, we talked about a little bit earlier, absolutely driving this game. Really not a lot outside of him in attack today. It was a little disconnected, and it caused some issues by Luton.
Yeah, I think the thing that I would point to is that we had almost 20 shots in the game, and heading into the end of the first half, we were at 7. So you had 12 shots in the second half alone. And of those 12, 6 were on target. So 50% of your second half shots were on target, which is a real nice uptick from where we were in the first half, where it was 2 shots on target to the 7 total that we had. So Chelsea found a way to get in better positions when taking a shot on goal in the second half. And that was with conceding a little bit more possession. It was a little bit more free flowing. So Luton did have the same opportunity to go as flat in the back to really limit those type of attacks or passing lanes. So in general, even without the necessarily the switch of players or personnel into the second half, the team really picked it up after what was essentially the 17th minute through the 45th minute of the first half, where Chelsea only had one shot. There's one more shot from the entire first half. So all 6 of the shots occurred before the 17 minutes to 0. One occurred in the 31st minute, and that was Malo Gusto. So ultimately, second half drastically improved, a little bit more of a free flowing game, and ultimately put Chelsea in a position to play football, I think, more akin to where they want to head versus where Chelsea have necessarily been forced by opposition who particularly like to try and frustrate Chelsea at the back.
All right, looking at chat here, we got a lot going on. How about this? Love the Jackson goal, right? Striker's finish, took a gamble, hoped that Raz would put it in dangerous spot, did, got a lucky deflection. Striker's finish tap in, love to see it. He was isolated today. He had to work hard off the ball. I tweeted this out. I respect his ability to tackle back, his ability to go recover the ball. And he was patient, and he had to be patient in this one, Dan. And when he got his opportunity, he took it. Probably made us wait a little bit longer than we wanted, but we're super thrilled for him. And that gave Raz the 2-goal assist FPL dream day.
I mean, definitely an FPL dream day if you own pretty much any Chelsea asset. I mean, even if you own Ben Chilwell like myself and you just got the clean sheet, like that was a really nice plus versus maybe last weekend where you would have hoped for a lot more from your Chelsea players. When you look at Jackson's stats, so the goal that he had was a 0.46 XG. And in general, his shots, both the ones on target, so he had 3 total shots on target, 2 shots blocked, so the kind of 5 shots total in the game. I mean, that's a really good shot on target amount for him, and even some of those I think were coming in off of the wing, a little bit of a smaller channel to try and fit that ball in, but making himself available. I think there's some of the composition elements to continue to work on. He tried a couple of back heels or maybe lighter passes that got intercepted or turned over. I think that will improve over time, particularly between him and maybe Connor coming up from behind or having Raheem available to the right. That interchange was developing over the match. It's not finished though. But I think you can imagine, or you could take what the last 15 to 20 minutes of this match look like and say, well, wait a minute, or at least the 20 minutes that they were both on the pitch. What does that look like for 2 games from now, 3 games from now, 5 games from now, to allow them to continue to really cook together in the front?
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. Weird that the right side was so good and the left side wasn't today. And it was the opposite last week. So, I mean, these are things that, like, Poch is going to have to iron out a little bit. Do shout out Poch for getting his first win in England for Chelsea. Check that box. I guess from your perspective, right? Weird, the imbalance today versus the left and right. Obviously, Raheem Sterling kind of backpacked the team. Malo Gusto with 2 assists, though, as well, right? Coming in and being deputy for Reece James. We know that it was always going to be a concern what he is going to, do if Reece is going to be out multiple times throughout the season. So positive signs on that front, at least.
Yeah, I would say I'm not surprised the left was not as productive as the right hand side. I mean, I think we made a choice to play through that channel that was continuing to give us goodness. Sterling was on form, and so I think there was just a natural tendency to try to feed it through and to make it happen. I think Chilwell, the Chilwell left wing experiment is kind of unfortunate, and it's still being stitched together. I think we saw Matson come in at the very end of the game, and that gave a little bit of energy, gave a little bit of up-tempo element to the left. I don't think Chilwell got in as well with his diagonals in this game relative to the previous 2 Premier League games, where he was really finding that ability to cut in from that wide angle. I mean, when you look at how bright his heat map was, it was really, the 5 to 10 yards from the halfway line on the Luton side. On the left, that's where he spent most of his time, but really didn't have too much going, even in terms of getting in front of the box. He had 1 or 2 chances that maybe he could have done a little bit better with. 1 shot in total. It just wasn't necessarily a great outing for him. I do think it'll be interesting as Chelsea potentially get more players back into fitness. Does he look to get to that back flat 4 again in the future? Again, it plays like a back 4, even though it doesn't necessarily look like that on paper. But it'll be interesting to see, who or what type of rotation kind of comes into place here over the next couple of games.
Well, for sure. I mean, you got to look ahead to Wimbledon, which is the midweek match. You'd assume that there's going to be a lot of rotation for that one. Try to play left back in order to get some height. Conor Gallagher, Moises Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez are not tall. That's just not their gift in life. So we got to figure out what we're going to do with this, because it is showing us that there is a Mm, situation that Poch is trying to solve. And by taking care of the defensive side, it is forcing imbalances or lack of fluidity in attack because of it. And I do think that that's a huge part of it. I understand what he's coming from. Disasi, Thiago Silva, Colwell will give you some height advantages, Nico Jackson, but that's only 4 players with any reasonable amount of height on these teams. Adebayo took 2 center backs just to mark him properly with his size, and thankfully he's a one-off. It is something we're going to have to sort out and watch and see how he goes about it. Nottingham Forest being the next Premier League match. Thankfully, we have a really friendly run of matches here that is going to give Poch, I think, some time to figure it out. But long run, it's not it. But I don't really have a solve unless an Ugochukwu is going to play consistently with a little bit of size back there. Like, I don't know exactly what we're going to do to solve that problem.
Yeah, I don't know if there is a solve. I mean, again, you did mention that there are players who play a little bit above their height. Chilwell's really good in the air. You have Nkunku when he's back in the air, he's really good. So I mean, I think there are some players, Colwell, Silva. I think the Silva question will be interesting as Benoit Badiashile gets back to full fitness. He's restarted some of his training. Does he potentially get rotated out or rested a little bit? I mean, Disasi obviously adds a lot of height in the defense. So there is height and maybe a little more than previously on the pitch with some of the additions that we're making. It relative to some other Premier League sides, it's still not the tallest average height team in the league.
Yeah, again, a really good run of matches to kind of figure this out as we go into Nottingham Forest at home, Bournemouth away, Villa at home, Fulham away, Burnley away, and then we get into that onslaught of top teams. But we'll stay here today. Enzo, really, really good again as well. Unlucky probably not to get a goal. Moises Caicedo, on the other hand, is still literally getting his feet underneath him. I'd imagine a lack of preseason is the understanding of why his form maybe is there, Dan. But what did you make of those 2 players? Again, we're always going to have a highlight on the 100+ million players, just like CBS put a single camera on Messi for the entire match. And
the pre-match commentary, which was effectively a opportunity for everyone to try and will into existence Luton Town, little plucky Luton Town picking a result off of big old Chelsea, big spender Chelsea, and it didn't come to fruition in the way that they had hoped the script would actually unfold. Chelsea getting the job done as needed. Enzo continues to look great. I think playing free is interesting because Caicedo played further back, right? And he was more distributing. Gallagher and Enzo were really both freed up to advance and come back and to play a little bit more of a interchanging type of 2 in front of Caicedo. There were parts though where boy oh boy, Enzo got super far forward where he was almost like level on the pitch with Jackson at times on the kind of left forward side. So very interesting to see how him being freed up from a little bit more of the defensive responsibilities. Not to say that he didn't contribute in defense, because there were times he definitely trapped back to help close down, to help try to make sure that a lane or a channel was blocked, or at least there was a second supporter who could, try to close down on a player. But Enzo's forward contribution continues to be extremely exciting. And it's more about when do these relationships in the pitch continue or start to take off in a way that maybe like the Gusto Sterling or Sterling Jackson partnerships take off, so that Enzo can really start setting these up and have people taking them and knocking them down. And I think Caicedo, to your point, still getting accustomed to playing with this Chelsea team. We know that Pochettino mentioned his preseason was not as intense as the preseason that Chelsea had, and so he's still getting back up into it. Lavia in the box with Todd Bowley and others, with Reece James, and he's obviously getting back up into the level of fitness that he needs to be able to contribute to this team too. So, I think it's just a patience thing. I think the challenge was that the patience was tested by the loss to West Ham and the draw against Liverpool, which could have been a win. And so ultimately, like, we just have to be comfortable with the fact that, again, and Nick actually summed it up perfectly. Like, this is going to be a frustrating and fun season for Chelsea. And the frustrating parts are hopefully going to come and be worked out quickly through this part of the season. And then the fun is just going to be everything, 1/3, 2/3 into the season. It's just all fun. And that's going to be very exciting.
Look, I love, by the way, I put up Dan of the match poll in there. I did spell Jackson wrong. My bad. I own that. I was going quick. But love this question here from Hilton saying, how many of these players stay once the injured are healed up? I was thinking about this as well. So pretty much where we're at, Dan, is Reece James is injured. Trevoh Chalobah is injured. Malo Mudryk's injured. Bettinelli's injured, and Nkunku's injured, Chukwuemeka's injured, Badiashile, and Broya. I think out of that list, Reece James is automatic. Like, sorry, Gusto, absolutely good run. Reece James is going in, Gusto's out. Christopher Nkunku is going in 100%. Now,
Yep.
in the formation you're at, where does he go? Probably in for Gallagher, and maybe Fernandez drops back, and then Nkunku goes out there to the two behind the striker. I think that's interesting to think about. You brought up Badiashile. Again, a back four, you're not going to play Colwell and Badiashile unless Colwell's left back. And then what does that mean for Chilwell? So as it stands, I'm just going off the 3-5-2 or the 3-4-3 kind of formation and saying, I'm going to assume it's Colwell, Silva. I don't know. I don't know if I like Disasi yet. Is that rude of me to say? I'm just not convinced yet.
I mean, he's adapting the league. I mean, I just don't think it's easy, particularly as this team, I mean, he really did not get a preseason with this team and was thrown into live matches and trying to, on the fly, build up the partnerships with Silva and Reece James, and then the switch to Gusto, and trying to develop a comfort there. Also with the change to a new goalkeeper as well. So, like, there's a lot of work that has to happen in that back line. I think I would imagine that it would be something like the Ben Chilwell, Reece James, if you're talking about the move to a back four. And I think that then changes a little bit. So, like, you have one addition come in off of the injury lane. I mean, the other one then is up front with Nkunku. I think it was absolute starter when healthy again, but that's not anytime soon. So I don't know. I feel like that's a problem for future us to solve, and I think we should just enjoy the fact that Jackson and Sterling are developing a partnership, and that is the most exciting thing that we can count upon. Because if you had thought that Raheem Sterling was going to be your leading goal scorer heading into the third, fourth match of the season, I don't think that was what people had predicted.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I think that, bringing it back to the match today, we do want to just say, like, Luton Town set out to make it difficult for Chelsea. They played with a back five, then three midfielders sitting with two up front, and they just were lumping it long into the channels and trying to run on to see what happened. So I think credit where credit's due, with Rob Edwards and his team, they did try to make it difficult for Chelsea. And I think at times we did feel the difficulties on our side and our inability to kind of keep the tempo high. They wanted it slow down. We let it slow down. And it just got really boring in the middle of the match, almost like the middle 60 minutes, it felt like. And so credit where credit's due. I think that was always going to be their game plan. They did have 2 weeks to prepare for this. I wonder if that's a factor or not. But whether you touch on that or Ross the Boss Barkley return to Stamford Bridge, I mean, how could you not?
I mean, he had a pretty anonymous game. So
Yeah,
that feels
he
like
did the job.
how.
Thank you.
I mean, yes, you don't want him coming back to be one of those in the former Chelsea players who score against Chelsea stat question answers. Just taking it back to Raheem for a second, though, like, so today he scores 2 goals in the league. It's the, third match of the season. So in 3 matches, he's got 2 goals in 28 matches, 23 starts last season at almost 1,900 minutes. He had 6 goals for Chelsea and 3 assists. He has 2 goals now and 1 assist. Like that is a maybe unsustainable amount in terms of the ratio that we would achieve or expect from him this season, but at least the early signs are, as someone who was probably, like, there were late rumors to a move to Saudi that I think people were excited about. There at a time there were real questions about him during preseason, as some of the decision making wasn't necessarily coming off. That could be attributed to a lot of different things. Just the 180 that some people are doing right now in Raheem Sterling, and the kind of waking up to him being a valuable contributor. Again, he has to keep it up. It should be a meritocracy. It should be something where people continue to earn their place. But to me, he's one of the most undroppable players in the team at the moment, and the least likely to be replaced. I think people were calling for Madueke previously, and calling for additions to the side. It's just really nice to see, and I think it's a great story, right? It's a really positive thing to have happening for the team, Brandon.
Look, we just want to see some consistency. I was going through Raheem's stats earlier, so the over-under was 20 that was in the chat right away before most of you were here. So I went back to his stats, and 20 goals and assists is very much in Raheem's wheelhouse. So when he joined Manchester City, it was a quiet first season, but 2016-17, he got 15. 2017-18, they won the league, and he had 29. The next season, won the league, he had 26. The next season, they got second, he got 21 goals and assists, and they got 17 and then 18 in his last season for Manchester City before joining Chelsea. Last year, terrible year, 9 goals and assists. I can see him easily doubling. That is pretty exciting. It's in his wheelhouse. It's in his locker.
Yep.
Someone put in the chat, he's worked his ass off this offseason, got the nutritionist, and that work seems to be paying off. He looks so sharp, but I tell you what, everybody who missed him in preseason, Dan, he did not look like this in preseason. So maybe he just is a UK guy. There's something in the water over there, and he's better in England.
That could be possible. I think there was one comment from Talo207 mentioning that Disasi being this year's Koulibaly. I think that is a little too early to project out, but ultimately, like, he scored the first goal for Chelsea this season, so he already has 50% of the goal contributions that Koulibaly had, and I would imagine is going to see more clean sheets than Koulibaly will over last season too. So very interesting to see how much of his true back four versus the 3, but really a 4 actually in and out of possession, and how the team plays. And I think there's a lot. I think also Jamie putting in the note in here too, Brandon, to congratulate you, as we've all found out today, that you and the missus are expecting to supply Chelsea with a goalkeeper in about 20 years.
That was such a masked way of saying that we are having a baby boy, which is super exciting. So our family and the Chelsea supporters group will be growing, no doubt about it. Future Blue, I think, was the hashtag I used on Twitter, which is exciting. Yes, very, very thrilled about that. No doubt about it, especially, capitalize on Godfather Bowley and the gifts that he's giving out. Anything else on this one, or do we look ahead to Wimbledon a little bit? I mean, overall, I would say at the end of the day, gotten it done, professional job, expected. Nothing blew me away outside of Raheem.
Nothing blew you away outside of Raheem?
No.
Interesting.
Gusto surprised me. I should say that.
Gusto's good. I think some of the passes Cole had into Enzo and the way he was cutting the lines was really, really good. I think that was something. I'm surprised you didn't shout out your boy Sanchez a little bit for a couple of the crosses he came out and claimed. He didn't have a ton of work to do, but he showed up in the few moments he got called upon, which is exactly what you would hope for.
Yeah, he dealt with that awkward one where Gusto got a foot on it and it kind of knocked it into the ground and spun it in front of him. But again, like, he did everything I would expect him to do. I think some Chelsea fans for these are the saves he should be making. So I would like to think that we're just raising the bar back to where it should have been, and that's how we're going to go forward. But yeah, has he saved points yet? No. Has he gone above and beyond yet? No. But again, it's fine. We need him to grow into the season as well. He didn't play really any minutes last season. It's been a long time. So we'll have to see. But no kudos yet.
Wow. Okay. I think the only other fun day
Mm.
across the entire 90, Luton had zero. We missed three of our big chances. We hit the woodwork twice. And so, like, we definitely were in perilous positions at time and did not necessarily fully execute. So, this is like, I don't know, it's a bad analogy because in the end the Empire loses, but it's very much like Death Star 2. Like this thing isn't even built yet fully, and we're starting to figure out ways to get it operational and to get it going. So ultimately, I think there's a lot of really positive signs to take away from this one about how Chelsea will continue to play and continue to evolve over the next series of games. I think the fortunate part is that this international break is going to come right when Chelsea, I would imagine, have stacked 3 wins in a row and are putting ourselves in a position to really capitalize. And we're going to have that like that rough stop that isn't going to feel good because we're all going to be really high on how Chelsea are playing at that time.
I mean, we would all hope that we can just enjoy that type of a situation to be in. Better than a World Cup in the middle of the season last year. I think that really distracted so many players, especially at big clubs, not just Chelsea. And it created a terrible situation at the beginning of the season, trying to do Champions League. So I think it will be less of a disruption this season. I hope. I know that some of the guys are slated to come back right at the end of the international break. So I'm already like, don't take Reece James. Don't take, Carnes. Just stay away from the injured people. Let them be with us, and they can kind of, find the time to come back in terms of their club team. But that'll be an argument for later, which is a good point. So, all right. Hey, this is only the live stream instant reaction. We still got a full podcast coming at you all later. So if you haven't, subscribe, check it out. Patreon as well. Our Discord is blown up this entire time. So if you want to continue to stay connected with us, head over to patreon.com/London Blue Pod. Sign up there, connect your Discord, and you will be in to our amazing community. Hey, we're out. Hope you enjoyed it. Podcasts